You better say that now.
I know this is the podcast, but I'm even gonna put this on the radio show. So we need to come on with a little something. So
Oh, okay.
I don't want to talk too much at first, but if you need me to get out there, I will. And so when I think about boundaries as a single man, I want to talk about the problems first.
Okay.
In my mind, if I meet a lady and how you doing, you tell me a little bit about yourself. I tell you a little bit about myself. I did not meet you on a dating app. I
Okay.
did not meet you under circumstances that would lead you to have an idea that this was more than us just being casual friends.
Mm-hmm.
I have run into a situation where sometimes your kindness, or I'm going to say my kindness or my attentiveness has been taken wrong. Now, the reason you were hesitant to talk about this, and I was a little bit hesitant because we don't want anybody to get a misunderstanding. In other words, we do have friends that are females. And if the
Right.
shoe does not fit, don't wear it. Don't text. Don't call. If you do
Please.
not fit in this category, please do not put the shoe on. But there's some women out there who, no matter what you say, they're going to see things the way they want to see things. What you think about that?
uh, yeah, you hit that right on the nail, man. Now, let me say this about that. When you said that the circumstances that you met some folk under did not include uh, an atmosphere that's conducive for date. Let me say something about that. There are folk and there are real live love stories that exist where folk met by divine design and folk met and what started out as an innocent encounter, you may have went to AutoZone to get a part for your vehicle and saw somebody and some chemistry took off right there. So I understand I understand what you mean when you're saying that you didn't meet on some kind of dating apparatus, you know. So why would the woman feel like, it should be that type of situation following? And I'm gonna say my opinion on that is that I believe that I believe that what happens with that is that in the private sectors of their lives, they are praying. They're praying and they're waiting. And so they know what they have prayed for. And so when they see what looks like what they have prayed for, it makes the light go off like, oh, well, look, wait a minute. Wait, this might be it. What I think is happening, man, is that women know what they are praying for in the private areas of their lives. They know what they're praying for. There is some women out here that sincerely and truly asking God, God, I'm open and I'm available. I believe that you have nurtured me to where I am in a position to where I can be somebody's help me. They really are praying for a legitimate spouse. And so I think what happens is that when they encounter anything that has a semblance, it looks like, it talks like, it smells like, it seems like what they have prayed and asked God for, is they're not thinking along the lines of, well, this not Christian mingle, so this is not the one. Or this not, what is that? Plenty of fish and all that. They not thinking along those lines. They know that they met you at Church's Chicken. You know what I'm saying? And that it's not an atmosphere that's conducive or exclusive rather for dating, but they know what they have prayed for. And so when they see that, they like, oh, okay, wait a minute now, wait a minute. Let me see if that's this. Let me see if that's this thing. And so they're gonna pursue it. They're gonna try to see what it is.
And there's nothing wrong with the pursuit. Once again, I'll restate my position. I have friends that are females,
Yeah.
and some of them are in relationships and others are not. And I'm not saying that I have a problem with a female, or let's say I was attracted to a female, but she wasn't wanting a relationship with me. That's not the problem. Meaning, because we know generally good relationships begin with what? Friendships.
Friendship.
So, what I am not saying is that when a woman is a friend with me, I'm going to use first person, that I'm not open to, if this turns into something, it can. But what I'm stating is sometimes women are not even giving you the opportunity to truly just be friends, for lack of better words. It seemed like the script has flipped. You know, back in my younger days, it was all about basically the men pursuing and doing this, that, and the other. But it seems today, and I'm not going to put a jacket on all women, but I'm going to say is it's like the woman is not even paying attention to what I or another man is telling them. It's like I have an agenda and I'm going to make that agenda fit you. And that's how I believe misunderstandings take place. I'm not saying, okay, I met her, she's nice, I'm nice. We really don't have a plan for this to turn into anything. But over time, we see that it's going in that direction, or we see the possibilities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when a woman just jumps down with an agenda, promotes the agenda, and I'm like, hold on, where did you get that from? What I mean, there is a part that's called me. It takes two to have a relationship, not just one who's willing. So what are you thinking? Have you faced that?
I have. I have, and that can be tricky because you value them as a friend. You know, you really enjoy what they bring to the table as a friend. But then when you see that, or when they make it obvious or apparent that they want more, that's where it can get tricky at, because it's like you're saying, what signals did I give off to let you know that I wanted us to turn the page? You know, what signals did I give off, you know, to indicate that? So it's a fine line. Now I'm gonna be honest. I have been in situations to where we came into it saying, as consenting and grown adults, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how far we're going to go. This is not that, and this is not this. However, because we were not designed to be in a, as humans, what I'm talking about, I do not believe that God had it in his ultimate and divine plan. It's not written nowhere in his word doesn't support it, for us to be casually intimate with the opposite sex. And I believe that when you engage in that, then when you open that door, and like they say, Pandora's box, when you open that up, oh man, all bets are off. All bets are off. And and oftentimes it's not just for the woman. You know, sometimes I've seen examples where the guys, you know, the woman say, hey, look, I'm not really in the position. I'm looking for anything long term. And ultimately we can say, man, we can trace it all back. We can walk it all the way down and say, because you deviated from how the word teaches you how to do, and this, that, and that is true. That's true. So let us establish off the rip that there's no such thing as putting a leash on sin. You know, that's like saying somebody is a little pregnant. You can't be a little pregnant. Either you pregnant or you not. You know what I mean? There's no. And so what happened? What I believe happens. This has been my experience, is that I've had situations in the past where I've said and we've said, hey, we both coming from this type of place. We'll just enjoy each other's company. It may include intimacies. It may not. But let's have the understanding that even if we share our bodies one with another, the ultimate goal is not for holy matrimony, and it's not building toward that. And women will say, oh, okay, I'm in a covenant with that, because I'm not looking for that either. I'm just, you know, but boy, let me tell you something. When you open that door right there, Jack, somebody, it's gonna be one person or the other. It's not gonna stick. It's not gonna stick, man. Somebody gonna get hurt. Somebody gonna develop more fit. It's ugly. So it's best to stay away from that. That's my experience with that.
Well, you've already established that in the word, it's not designed. Fornication or
Yeah.
sex outside of marriage, it's not designed to go right. So when it all goes kaboom in whatever area that is, physically,
Yeah.
emotionally, spiritually, we understand it's what's written. It's just when we were thinking about this topic, just in my mind, and call me naive or call me youthful in thinking. I just truly think that males and females can be friends, but they need to have conversations. And these conversations have to include the fact that if there's something about me or there's something about you to where we see that the scale, so to speak, is tipping, let us be honest enough with ourselves and one another to where we can navigate this relationship to where it doesn't end and we're not even in relation to one another. And I've just experienced some difficulties, and to be quite blunt, especially when it comes to the household of faith, because it
Mm-hmm.
seems like when you introduce the fact that well, let's pray about that. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. And that just blew my mind to where I had to just reassess and say, you know what? Just that dynamic, that male female dynamic, that curse that came from the garden, that the desire of a woman to be a man. I just had to really get a revelation that to a certain extent, this attraction or this magnetism
Mm-hmm.
sometimes is too much. And that might mean sacrificing a friendship. And when I came to that realization, it sort of saddened me because I know this for a fact. There are some beautiful women in this world who are good women. But every woman, you and I have had this talk. Every woman is not your woman. I believe you have one woman, and that
Yeah.
one woman is going to fulfill and satisfy you like no other woman. And I believe the same thing about myself as far as being a man. The woman that is for me, there'll be none like me. There hasn't been one before me, and there won't be one after. And that sounds good on the movies, but what that means is as we meet people who might bring pleasure into our lives, who might compliment us, who might look good to us, everybody is not for you as far as a relationship that leads to holy matrimony. And we need to, in this society, have these conversations to where we're not running away from the opposite sex. We're not ostracizing the opposite sex, but we're also not sexing them,
Mm-hmm.
using them, manipulating them. And that's just why I wanted to hold this conversation.
Well, let's put a pin in it right there, man, and perhaps let's consider we can have some of our sisters, jump on here with us, and we could bring this beat back, a part two of this thing.
Well, are you going to recruit our guests?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be somebody we both coming with. I'm thinking Coy off the rip. I know Coy might have something to say.
Oh my goodness, you put a name on the podcast and this is going on the radio. So Sister
Yeah.
Coy, be expecting a
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
And we know we're saying it because it needs to be said, but we're not going to say it all now. We're going to let you think about the things that we spoke on. Until next time.
All right.
We have BPG with us, Ronald Arsenault, and I just finished with this. You better say that. And I had to go all the way to the director's chair to bring in a lady. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Well, the subject matter, my friend Ronald and I were discussing when males and females are friends, what happens when some boundaries are crossed? And so literally let's say you and I, we meet under circumstances that it's obvious we're friends. I'm feeling some about you, you feeling some about me, but on a friend level. But it's a whole lot of women and men that they met on a friend level, but one of them trying to cross a line. So what's
Yeah.
your immediate thoughts on that?
Okay, my immediate thoughts is, let me just be honest and be really, really real, because I experienced something like that. So immediately I would say not all relationships will be the same if that line is crossed. You shouldn't, not if you, crossing the line opens different types of feelings. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so if you want to keep a certain type of friendship healthy and intact, it would be wise not to cross that line, because once you do, there's no turning back.
Okay. Well,
you look at them differently.
Okay. So what I'm hearing in the background over here, not from you, but generally in this day and age, when you speak about a male and a female and a friendship crossing lines, people's minds immediately go to something sexual, something intimate. But then we also realize through this social media thing that it doesn't have to be sexual,
right?
But it can be intimate through different texts. And so what we're going to do is, you and I'm going to give you a scenario with Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill are going to be our two friends. And so I'm going to give you the scenario of Jack and Jill. So Jack and Jill meet and they respect one another highly. And they don't work together, but they at times discuss different things that happen at work. And so as they're discussing these things, sometimes it's over lunch, sometimes it's at the park. They're not dates. They're just, hey, would you like to go someplace nice and let's just talk because we get along well. And so no words have been spoken as far as personal. It's just an unspoken agreement that we're just friends. So Jack and Jill are existing as just friends. And then all of a sudden, one of them begins to be a little intrusive, meaning who was that on the phone, or what are you doing tonight? And so even though there was no spoken agreement, there was an unspoken relationship that we're just friends, and now you seem to be breaking the agreement. Give me some feedback.
Oh, wow. I experienced that as well.
Come on.
And a lot of times you already see the flags, you see the signs, but we ignore them. We downplay them. Hello, somebody. We try to overlook them. And then on the other hand, we're welcoming. There are some people who welcome that. Just a little flirt here, a little flirt there, but they never call it out. That wouldn't be wise either, to ignore.
So in your experience, just give me one of the telltale signs of this unspoken agreement being violated.
Violated. When you're in public, we go out, we hanging out, we friends or what have you, and we're hanging out. And to me, a violation would be the overprotectiveness in the public.
Okay.
It's one thing to be protective, or what have you, but especially as women, we know the difference when there's somebody that's interested on another level. And even if you just, hey, boo, how you doing? For this one to get offended, upset, or in their feelings, and then begin to try to discuss things with you or conversate as if you guys are in a relationship. To me, that's a violation, because you're not my man. We're just friends.
I get that. For me, it would be the body language. In other words, we entered the building. We know we're friends. We're comfortable with one another. But why, when another female comes along or we run into them, is it my imagination, or did you just get up under me? Versus we were walking and we stopped together. It seems that your body language has gotten a little bit More possessive. You're not actually putting a hand on or holding a hand, but this stance, this posture, it just signifies, my goodness, where did that come from?
That's that we together stance.
Okay. Talking about Jack and Jill. Here we go.
Jack and
Number
Jill.
2.
Yeah.
Jack and Jill are in this friendship.
Okay.
And what happens is one of them, you speak from Jill's perspective. I'm going to speak from Jack's perspective.
Okay.
The feelings start to change. It's cool to hang out. It's fun to hang out. But suddenly it becomes, you don't have time for me? You set aside time for me. What is your take on that? Remember,
it could be fear. It could be fear because me being Jill, I may have seen some signs along the way, right? But we never spoke on them. And instead of me being woman enough to have a conversation with Jack, I've decided to cowardly try to ignore Jack instead of addressing it and putting it out there. I may be reading into it wrong, but here I've become standoffish to him because I've assumed the position of something else.
Okay. From Jack's perspective, I'm really feeling Jill.
Okay.
I'm experiencing some things on the inside when I saw her dressed a certain way, when her hair was this way right here, but I know we're friends.
Okay.
So I don't exactly know how to tell her, because when I try to broach the subject, it's like, oh, that's nothing. We're just friends. And so I get the perspective that, okay, she's not interested in me. Instead of, how you doing? I know we've been associating or been around one another, and the way I'm feeling about the situation is I want to take this to another level. And even though we are friends and I understood that, that's why I'm pronouncing the fact that my feelings have moved beyond friendship.
Okay.
Instead of just addressing it, like you said, cowering down, just hoping that she starts to look at me a certain way or smell me a certain way. That cologne, or when I pull up like this, I showed her this, but now I'm gonna show her that. Things like that. But okay. Third scenario.
Okay.
Once again, all these scenarios, we're not trying to answer all of the questions. We're just trying to stir up a conversation.
Right.
And if we can stir up a conversation,
pardon? I say, come through conversation.
That's right. A lot of people, they try to start it, put a middle on it, and tie a bow to it.
Right.
And that doesn't leave room for people to think about in their own minds what they think about. So when we speak about friendships and boundaries and when they're crossed, we speak about friends. There's a lot of male-female relationships, but because agreements that haven't been spoken but are there are crossed,
right?
Those relationships get hurt because feelings change. Somebody gets a little bit more involved emotionally than the other individual. And as you said, they're not bold enough to, this is what's going on with me. Whether it's J or Nay, I'm stepping up, stepping out.
Yeah.
And so the final scenario for Jack and Jill.
Okay.
When is it unhealthy in a friendship between a woman and a man to just resolve that, say, I don't feel the same way towards you and I value your friendship, but I see you're not going to let it just be like that? When does that become unhealthy?
When you've had the conversations and the actions after the conversation don't change. Meaning, I've told you as sweet as I possibly can, thanks for no thanks. And yet you're still coming with gifts and you're still showing up unexpectedly here and there. And you're still texting where you at. You still texting how you doing? Good morning. Beautiful. You're still with the same program, but you've added more stank on it, because you want what you want. That's when it's unhealthy.
Okay.
Been there, done that.
Okay. I'm not even going to add to that, because in my mind, you know, we talk about Jack and Jill. That's a
Jack and Jill.
violation. That's a
Yeah.
violation. You don't question where I'm at. You can question
Don't.
my safety. You can question, is everything going okay?
That's
But
it.
no. That's a violation. So that's a whole nother discussion. And so before we end this, is there
Okay.
anything, advice or lessons that you've learned concerning how to be healthy in a friendship with the opposite sex?
What I've learned firsthand experience, because I do happen to have a lot of male friends. I have more male best friends than women best friends. And what I've learned is to, in the beginning, make sure I'm not all extra affectionate, you know, because that off the muscle as a man could already begin to make him stir up some things in the beginning. Hello, somebody. And get him excited, if I may say. So I've learned to try to keep it as cool, calm, and collected as possible, but then draw the line without telling them the line is there. If we're going to hang out, I want to make sure I'm not dressed extra sexy. We're going just to hang out, so I want to make sure that I'm not dressed as if I'm going on a date. When we go out somewhere to hang out or eat, I want to make sure that he understands I don't expect for him to pay. Because if he's paying, it can be deemed as a date if I begin to expect certain things from him. So I learned that the hard way. Oh no, you're gonna pay the bill. I've been there, I've done that. And then last but not least, I've learned when I'm feeling some type of way and in my feelings, not to go and cry and lay on their shoulder like that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Having a conversation over the phone, that's one thing, but it's something else that happens when emotions as a woman are involved and you go before them. And of course, if you're crying, any man that has a heart, they're going to want to, be attentive and, and so you're vulnerable, right? At that moment. So then, of course, he's going to try to embrace you. One thing can lead to another. So don't put yourself in a position where you're vulnerable in their presence, because you leave them no other choice. I've had, and I don't mind sharing this real quick before we end, I've had a friend for a very long time that because I was just cooler than a fan, because I was always there fixing different things and working things out, I didn't see the signs of anything. I'm just fixing whatever needed to be fixed there when he needed a shoulder to lay on or what have you, coming through when he needed to come through. We hung out. It didn't matter that he seen me talking to other guys or not. It was just the fact I was there for him. And so he wanted to have a conversation with me to let me know that he had fallen in love with me. Again, I didn't see any of the flags. And so what I learned was I was coward at that moment. And I began to do everything in my power to shake him, to avoid him. We hadn't did anything. We had kissed, we hadn't hugged. I wasn't mature enough to know how to handle that situation. To talk to him, I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I was afraid. I didn't know. I began to question: do I have feelings for him? What's going on? And I didn't have anybody to talk to. And I really lost a really, really good friend, a good friendship, all because I didn't communicate. So one thing I would advise anybody to do that's in any type of relationship, Jack and Jill, or Jack and Rick, or Jill and Kim, to always keep that open line of communication, no matter what. If feelings are involved, speak on that so that you can tactfully get a response and tactfully talk to that person, still love them the way that you do, because you can love a person without being intimate. You can love a person without licking and feeling all on them or what have you, but still keep that line of communication, be real and be honest, and don't, let me say this the right way, don't allow them to do more in the relationship just because it's conveniencing you and something that you want or that you need or that you're not getting from someone else.
That's good. That's good. Just a few things that have boded well for me, or what I have come to understand in my relationships with the opposite sex. The first thing is we think differently.
Yeah.
And so what that looks like for me is I was raised by a single mother. And so not flirting, not trying to get her. I'm going to compliment and pay attention to you because you're a woman and you deserve that.
Yes.
Well, I had to come to understand that's not always a route that I can take with different women who are my friends, because no matter how right I am conveying, hey, I'm enjoying the friendship, and when I take notice of the little things that you do and the little things that you say, it's because I respect you, I value you, I'm listening to you. I have no intention of taking advantage of you. I have no intention of trying to woo you, but by me doing those little things, in some women's mind, it's no matter what I say, I know you feeling me. No man is going to pay attention to me like you pay attention to me unless you were feeling me. And so when I say we think differently, that means that I have to take notice that if me complimenting or paying attention to her like I do on normal is too much, I need to take some off.
Right.
And at first in my mind, I was just like, man, my mama, when I'm young, she gonna say, do I look nice today? Or so-and-so. And that's where that came from. It's just like, I'm paying attention. I know it's obvious you want to be told if it looks good or it doesn't look good. Right. And I'm not saying I'm going to insult you if it doesn't fit my taste. I'm like, if you like that, that looks nice, but it might not look as good on you as this.
Right.
And so I've learned that. Another thing that I've learned is communication. Communication. It's okay to talk about random subjects.
Right.
But when the subjects become too personal, too often,
right,
that's not healthy. That's not healthy. It's like when I just used to run the streets and I was doing the things that I was doing, I had a philosophy, and I would tell my partners, they say, man, how do you, because I was at college, and they were like, how do you keep doing well on these blind dates? Because in college, people have different people come. They say you always come through. I said, listen to this. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not a psychologist, but I'm gonna tell you this. Sit down with anybody, male or female, and talk to them for 2 hours. I guarantee you at the end of the 2 hours, they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna be able to ramble or listen for 2 hours and just be distant.
Right.
Straight 2 hours. And so what I would share with them, I said, just holding a conversation, not trying to go anywhere. At the end of that conversation, they feel comfortable. Well, what I found now that I'm walking this walk out with respect towards women, sometimes don't hold too long of a conversation, because no matter what my intentions are, that comfortability not only becomes established, but it becomes something that can turn into something else.
Correct.
That's not everybody. That's not everybody, but I'm just saying for some people, that's just what I found, because there's a difference between communicating and clinging.
Correct.
Communicating, you and me we might talk for whatever. There is no time limit.
Yes.
When it's time to go, it's time to go. Hey, I got to catch this. But clinging,
yes, absolutely.
This conversation is not built for you to hang on to every word. It's been
Right.
to exchange ideas, encourage one another, share some things that we know. But it's not built
Absolutely.
for us to hang on each other's word. And then the final thing that I've learned, just for the sake of this short discussion,
Okay.
pay attention. Pay attention to myself.
Yes.
Pay attention to her.
Absolutely.
Because I found out that the little things matter. Meaning, can be innocent as all outdoors, been friends, but it
That is
just
correct.
happens to be this day
Yes.
when you come into the room. And I look, and it's like, I wonder what, or the opposite. I come to the room, I just happen to be wearing this.
Yes.
And I see it in your eyes. I mean, I've never seen it in your eyes before, but it's like, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
And you alluded to it earlier, when we see the signs,
yes,
friendship is going beyond what we want, or we really don't know what we want, but we see it going somewhere.
Yeah.
We need to communicate.
Absolutely.
We're gonna leave that right there. But I appreciate you giving us your input, because Mr. Ronald, he's gonna be the first male on the BPG radio station. But at the same time, I'm gonna post this on our podcast, because he was screaming. He was like, "Man, we got it. We got to do." I say, "Bro, just I got you, baby. I got you." And you came to my mind, because you do have male friends, and I do have female friends.
Right.
And once again, if you heard something this morning that intrigued you, caused you to think, and you're like, why didn't they finish? It wasn't built to finish. It was just built to start a discussion. So you have a wonderful day.
You do the same.
Boundaries for a godly man. Ooh. Now what's going on with that? It's a hard place. But as we heard from Arsenal and we heard from Jamaica, I understand it was primarily Ronald's viewpoint and my viewpoint at first, but then here came Jamaica, and here's the bottom line that I take away. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. When we're involved in friendships with the opposite sex, if we actually treat them in a manner in which we want to be treated, meaning showing care, concern, respect, and actually sacrificing for them, then I truly believe that relationships with the opposite sex can do exactly what God has designed for them to do. I don't know a scripture in the Bible that says male and females cannot go out and have fun as friends. But I have seen in my own life and in females' lives and males' lives that we are so broken, needy, perverted, that, man, it's few and far between. But I challenge anyone out there to find a scripture in the Bible where it says male and females cannot be friends. But I'm telling you, there are people who legalistically say this, and I understand. I understand the weaknesses and frailties of man, because I'm a man, but I also understand the way that oftentimes some women who I've spoken to just want to be needed, just want to be cared for. And a conversation or paying attention to them or a compliment seems to say that the male is interested in them for more than friendship. But anybody listening to this, I'm just saying, the Bible says love your neighbor as yourself. It doesn't put a gender on it. So if you happen to be questioning, can men and women be in friendships one with another, I'm saying we can be, but I'm saying the only way that that friendship is going to be pure and right and helpful to each other is if we're looking at that individual and willing to sacrifice some of our wants, willing to deal with our lusts, willing to hear them, not just so that we can say something, but so that we can see them. And I guarantee you, I know for myself, I want to be seen and I want to be heard when I'm speaking to a friend. But just because you see me and you hear me, that doesn't mean that you want to be intimate or I need to be intimate with you. So just a thought today, if you have a male friend and you're a female, or you have a female friend and you're a male, I just encourage you. Love them and respect them and make sacrifices for them with their best in mind and not yours.